Hi, so I'm going to show you the owl pellet and how to dissect it. I tried to do it where you could watch me, but it doesn't record my voice. So what you're going to be getting is, you're going to be getting this, all right? It looks like a baked potato. It's not, don't eat it. Okay, so you're going to unwrap it, and the first thing you're going to do is you're going to measure it with a ruler to see how big it is. And make sure you read the directions to see if you have to measure in inches or centimeters. So you measure the width and the length, okay? All right, then you unravel it. So then what you do is you're going to rip it in half. Open it, open, and this is what it looks like, okay? And then see it, you can see the bones sticking out. Some of it has fur. They have been fumigated, but I don't recommend eating while you dissect it, all right? So I definitely recommend doing this, washing your hands really well, and then eating. Okay, so I'm going to rip this in half. And I have a couple pieces here. And so what I've been doing is I've been slowly ripping it using my tweezers and pulling it apart. And so some of the bones that I have found so far, remember I already recorded myself and it didn't work, so I don't want to waste another pellet. So I have this one. Can you see that? Can you see that? See how that's a tibia and a fibula? It's connected. It also is right here. Can you see it? The back leg right there? See how they're connected? You will be given the sheet of paper so that you can compare the bones as you dissect them, or as you get them from the owl pellet. And if you remember the owl pellets, the owls swallow their prey whole, so they chase rodents like rats and shrews and voles and things like that. Every once in a while they might find a bird. And so then their body compresses it into this pellet, this compressed ball, oval-shaped ball of fur and bones, because they digest the skin, they digest the muscles and all that stuff, and then all that's left are the bones. Can you see that? Oopsies, sorry. All that's left are the bones and the fur. So then you dig through that to get a skeleton out, and then we're going to put that together. So this is a pelvis, which you can see right here. See it right there? This is really cool. Right there. There's the pelvis. If you look really close, you can see the hole. See, there's a little divot. It's like circular. You can see it. And what happens is you have something called a femur, which is your largest bone in your body. See that ball right there? So that ball goes directly in that little hole. It's so cool. And then so that goes in there. And that's how they run. Ball in the ball and socket. That's their joint and how they run. Same with you. That's how you run. And so you just keep breaking this apart. Look at that. I found one skull, but you know, it's not perfect. It's broken. Sometimes you'll get a whole skull. This one just broke. You can see this is a rodent. Rodents have orange teeth, and their teeth grow forever. That is the top of the skull. I have a mandible. Mandible is, when I'm talking, you can see my jaw move. Mandibles move. So this part is the mandible. This is the maxilla. My mandible moves. So this would be the mandible. Can you see that? Mandible. Okay, so that would go on the bottom. It's the bottom jawbone. So I have two mandibles. I have a skull. And look at, I have all this left to dissect. So it could take you a while to get all these bones out. And then there's two options. You can either put them together into a skeleton, or you can sort them and count how many you have of each. So like, how many ribs do I have? How many vertebrae do I have? They give you an option, so you can make a skeleton that looks like that. If you're like, I don't even know how to do that, Mr. Dean. Looks like this. This is what a student did. See that? And they actually labeled theirs for extra credit. You just have to build it. Okay. And this one did it like this. This one's really old. You can tell because it's falling apart. So those are some options. So you can do the skeleton. Which you'll get a copy of this. Or you can get a sorting guide, which you'll get a copy of that too. So you can sort it. Whichever you prefer. I think it's fun to do them both. So here's another mandible. You just have, oops, you can't see what I'm doing, sorry. So you just have to sort. Be careful and pull gently. Doesn't really work if you use gloves because they get in the way. So we don't. There's a radius or an ulna. See that? And you will have the bone sorting guide so you can compare. Like, Mr. Dean, I don't know what these bones are. Well, just compare them. Shape matters. So look at that ball. That's a femur. Femurs have balls and sockets. Or balls, I guess, at the end of the bone. the pelvis has the socket, which the femur attaches to. There's an arm bone. See how tiny these bones are? I know that there's a jaw there because there's orange teeth. You see that? I didn't paint my nails for this famous video I'm recording. I should have. Alright, look at this. I got another skull. Get all that fur out of there. See that big chunk of fur I got out? Here's another skull. Alright, so then you have to compare them and see, are they voles? Are they rats? Are they, and what you look at is the negative space in the curve. And what the heck does that mean? Look here. See that? So look at that curve from the teeth to the back. See what that looks like? So from here to here, you'll have a skull. Some of them that are straight across versus if they are more curved will determine what they are. So let me show you here. So you have to compare each one. So this is the bone sorting chart I was talking about. So you can see, okay, do you have, what do your bones look like? There's the femur with the ball on the end of it. Tibia and tibula are connected. And then the skull's on the bottom, or skeleton's on the bottom. But if you look here, you'll have this. See how you can see a pocket gopher has a massive, massive curvature, whereas a rat is more straight across. A mole, look at all those different teeth they have. So you'll have to look at this skull identification chart, and then you have to look at that negative space. Right here, this is called negative space in there. Okay, the curve. You know that. And these are the most common. Obviously, one time we had a bird, so that was not on this chart. But these are the most common skulls that we see. Usually they're pocket gophers or house mouse. See the difference between those? You just have to look. The bottom mandibles look similar in a lot of them because look at, they're curved, but you can see this curve here versus this curve. You look at that notch there versus the lack of notch. So that's what you're looking at to identify what type of animal you have, because then we count how many animals, the different variety of animals in the whole class, and we see, oh, there must have been a lot of pocket gophers in that area because that's the most numerous, or there must have been a lot of house mouse in that area where these collected from because that was the most numerous. And so you can compare here to see what the vertebrae, all the bones are. All right, so I'm going to just do a little bit more, and then I'll let you guys count how many I have each one. Oh, here's a scapula. Those are really hard to find because they're so thin and fragile. You see this? Kind of looks like a fan, like those homemade fans. My nose is itching. Someone's like thinking about me. See that? That's a scapula. Super cool. I'm going to show you a vertebrae. Oh, and then if you were in person, I'm sure you're not, because if you're still watching this, you're probably at home. I have like tons of extra bones here. So here, this whole thing is mandibles. That's all that's in here. Look at all those mandibles. This one here is pelvises. See all those pelvises? And I wanted to show you the vertebrae. Is this gross too? Look at bones and bones and bones. I call it the graveyard. See, look at graveyard. It literally just has years and years of all pellet leftover bones. So like when students make their skeleton, or when they do their thing, when they're done, they throw their leftovers in here, and then you get to dig through them. You need them. It's kind of gross. It's also kind of cool. So like this person didn't finish, and there's just matting of fur everywhere. I'm trying to find you a vertebrae. That's what I'm trying to find you. Oh, I showed you on here what a vertebrae looks like. I just wanted to show you. They can be hard to find too because they're little. Oopsies, those are the feet. Right there. That's what a vertebrae looks like. See? There we go. All right. Let me know if you have questions. I'm going to stop this, and then if you need help or anything like that, let me know. Talk to you later. Okay, so this is an idea of what you need to do. So see how I put the pelvises here, And the ribs here, you'll glue them down, and this is what you'll turn in. You'll need to make a chart and put all of the ribs or all of the animal bones in there that you find, right? So that is the one option. And if you remember, the other option is build the skeleton like this. All right. So I hope that, and then you have to fill out your lab that says class data, like we'll collect all that and I'll post that to like how many pocket gophers were in the class of 20 or whatever. And then you have to answer, what can owl pellets tell us about the habitat? Like, what do you think? Obviously they tell us the animals that are in where they're living, because they're not going to be able to, owls aren't going to eat fish if they live in the woodlands, right? So if there's lots of pocket gophers, then it tells you the habitat of the owl. And then if there's, because what do pocket gophers eat? That's where they're found. So if pocket gophers lived in the water, then you know the owls hung around water. Pocket gophers lived in the grassland, then you know the owls are living around the grassland. So that's kind of cool. So whatever animal is in your pellet, that is what the owl ate. Well, what does that animal eat? What does a house mouse eat? What does a vole eat? Where do they live? So it's really cool that we can use an owl pellet, which is a waste of an owl. They throw it up. It's like bones and fur smashed together. They puke up. We can use that to study, to figure out the habitat of the owls and the habitat and the number of species that they eat. All right.